Yo, what up? I'm live. I'm back. I know it's been a minute since I've done a live, so I'm back again with another video. So this time I actually brought a guest, But first, I want to thank you guys for showing up, for being here. Let me get this stuff here. Been a while since I've been live, so of course you gotta work out the kinks and everything. But just some regular house cleaning. Want to let you all know what's been going on. So basically, I've been releasing videos Monday through Friday. That's what I've been doing. So for those of you that are wondering what is going on, what are my times, and what am I doing, releasing videos every Monday through Friday. That's the new schedule moving forward. So now I want to bring up my guest. Actually, a real good person. You know what? I've actually checked out some of her videos. You guys already see me actually done some videos, some video reviews, and she usually talk about Africa, and which is really good because we know that we need a lot of brothers to actually go out to Africa and to see what's out there. Because a lot of brothers, they only know about Latin America or what's close to the United States. And a lot of brothers are ignorant to what's going on out there. And I think that it's best to have her let everybody know what's really going on out there. So, with that being said, I want to introduce my guest, DD Wills.
Hello, hi everyone. This is Didi Wills. Like he said already, I'm so happy to be here today. How you guys doing?
Good. Well, I'm glad to have you on the show because you know what? Because I've seen a lot of videos that you've actually made, and I'm just blown away by a lot of the videos that you actually created. So, so that when we actually talk offline, I was like, "Hey, I gotta have you on, no matter what."
I'm so glad to be here today. Thank you for having me today. I'm so excited. It's going to be an interesting conversation. So,
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I believe so as well. So, well, first off, I'm gonna come out the gate with some questions because, since you actually are on YouTube and I see that you have a nice following. So, how long have you been on YouTube making content?
I've been on YouTube for I think about 2 months now, or yeah, 2 months. I think
Nice.
not too long. So I started making content in January. Yeah.
Okay. And what made you want to start creating content on YouTube?
Well, the reason why I decided to start creating content on YouTube is because I got a lot of like single friends who were like, hook me up with someone that they want a serious minded person for a relationship. And they're always asking me, like, please. I don't know why they decided to just asking me, but I do really, maybe it's because I got married. So they're like, oh, hook me up with someone, please. I want a serious relationship. So having like single friends who are always asking, and then coming to the United States, and then I started seeing a lot of single men. I was like, oh yeah, there are a lot of single men. So I decided to want to start promoting the African country, like with a lot of single women that are there. So like, why not? Let's hook them up together.
And that makes a lot of sense. And it's actually it's best to know people. Well, that's actually one of the things for me. Dealing with Colombia, that's actually what they use to meet people, mates and so forth, is by word of mouth, by knowing a person. So I think that's actually pretty cool. I like the fact that you're actually doing that, being a matchmaker, in so many words, helping
Yeah,
people out. So how long have you been married?
I've been married for almost 2 years now. Yeah.
Nice. So how's that been coming along with the differences and so forth in culture? Has it been interesting nonetheless, or
Well, I would say it has been good because for I'm so glad that I made the decision to actually get married at a young age due to the fact that personally I didn't want to like be jumping into like relationships and having being in relationship with different people and then having breakups because growing up is mostly what I see. I see people be in relationships, then breakups from breakup. I'm like, wait, like this two just dated a few a few months
it's too
ago,
much?
some years ago. It's like why I didn't want all of that. I just wanted to like just get married, find somebody that will both serious and just um like we love each other and want to be together. So why not just be there in that relationship and then know that you're settled with the whole relationship part, family parts, then you can focus on other life things, like things that you want to do in life, other than like just keep jumping and having distractions. So I'm happy that I got married. Then yeah, there's some cultural differences, despite the fact that yeah, my husband is
Hmm.
African American, but growing up from like different places, there's still a little bit of cultural differences. But
Hmm.
I think it's how sometimes some people do have challenges with cultural differences. There've been situations where some actually tend to break up, like they don't make it. But I think it depends on on those two people, those two couples who are together. Depends on their approach to things and how they settle it. Are they understanding to each other's differences? How do they try to? I think the best way to approach it is actually trying to understand the other person's um, where they're coming from, their thinking. You need to understand their culture. Then the other person should also reciprocate and do the same thing. Then with that, you guys will have like an understanding and common ground in those situations. So, yeah.
That's facts. I was talking about. I like that. The funny thing is, as you say that with the two cultures coming together, sometimes there's some differences and so forth. The funny thing is, we actually have that here in the states as well. We have different cultures in the United States, multiple
I
things,
didn't
and
know
people have
that until I
issues.
came here.
So, but hey, but yeah, I appreciate the fact that you coming on here, giving us this information and so forth. So, but where are you from? Originally from Africa.
Yeah, I'm from Nigeria.
Is it nice? So he actually brought you over from Nigeria, or you guys did you guys move to Nigeria? Did he move to Nigeria?
I know he brought me over from Nigeria to the United States because of the distance we had. It was like we wanted to like deal with the distance at first and figure things out slowly, but the distance was just too much to handle because of the trip back and forth. And since he couldn't move to the back to Nigeria with me or maybe any African countries he prefer, that's why I decided to just come over.
Okay, yeah, and I know that's taxing the back and forth. Because for me with my wife going back and forth to Colombia, that was just it was getting tiring. It was taxing every month. We going back and forth. After a while, he's like, forget this. You know what? Let's just live in one household and call it a day.
Yeah.
Because traveling gets tiring. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the whole subject of what we have here, which is what passport bros can expect from an African wife. And before we even answer that question, I want to go down the whole path of what should a man expect before he can even get to that point. Then, what should he expect after he gets married and so forth. So,
Okay, yeah, that's a good question because I think men kind of get scared, like, oh, is she gonna change on me? Is the treatment I'm getting prior before marriage, is it gonna be different than what I was getting before? And
yeah,
I would say with African women, we're mostly trained. Most of the traditional homes, we're trained to actually be marriage oriented. Like that's the focus, that's the goal. We don't date just because we
nice.
want to date and just be in a relationship forever. So it's mostly at the end of the day, we want to get married, we want to be settled. So with that, you will get good treatment from the women, like even before, like during courtship and the rest. The woman is going to be very, very loving, and I think she's going to try her best to even put in like a lot of effort towards competing due to the fact that there are a lot of single women, and once they see a man who is like capable of actually settling down and being
Hmm.
married, they're gonna want to put like effort into trying like, oh please, like choose me. Like that's where it comes with the pick me, like like I want to be selected. So you might actually get I've said this before in one of my lives where you might get situations where some women will come over to the man's house and try to clean up the place,
Oh
try to
yeah,
do the laundry.
yeah. That's that move in. That's sneak type moving
Yeah.
in.
So she wants to show you what you're missing out on. It's like, oh, you have to do this by yourself. I will do it for you. Like, this is what you can get married. So
Okay.
you get a lot of that, like trying to care for you, trying to cook for you, and show you her cooking skills. So it's more of like she's trying to show you everything that she can be, you can get, being married to her. And then if you happen to like select her, sometimes they even go to the man's mother's parents' house and try to impress the mom, because usually most African men, they kind of have like a very great connection with their moms. Their mothers really care for them a lot and want their male child to always kind of end up with a good woman, a good traditional woman that is like the mother. So the mother will kind of evaluate in most cases. So you want to actually appear in a good light in front of the mom, the maybe the siblings and family as a whole. So you're gonna
Nice.
get that. If for instance you kind of introduce her to them, she will try her best to look good to them. And also,
Nice.
after you get married to the woman, you're gonna get submissiveness from a good traditional African woman. This is not to say everyone in general, because we have like some feminists still, despite
Mm-hmm.
I think since it's in the West, feminism at large, it's still something that is seeping in into other places also. So
Yeah.
you might still get some women who have the mindset of, oh, I don't want to be like my mother. I don't want to suffer like my
Mm.
mother, or slave away like my mom, or my grandma, things like that. So there's some
So,
women who have that mindset.
so it's only just a small population. It's not a lot of the women. It's just a small pockets or so.
Yeah, it's not something that is at large, like a whole lot. Or else I think you guys would have heard most African men, they would have started complaining online, maybe in mass. But since there are a lot of still traditional good women, submissive women, there's not like it's not a plague there yet. So
Oh,
those good traditional African women, married to them, you expect they'll be very submissive. They'll respect their husbands, and then they know the role of the man is to lead the household. So they will definitely know that, okay, it's time for me to. I already have a leader who is, because being a child already from a home, the dad is already the leader of that home, of that household. So when once she gets married, she knows to look at the man also as the leader of the household, and she has to look up to him to rule.
nice.
And so that's just it. She's gonna naturally be submissive. She's gonna take care of the household duties, like all those feminine things that a woman should do. She's gonna look after the children and all of that.
Nice. So, well, I got a lot of questions off of that whole thing. So,
And
my first question I gotta ask. I know a lot of people say, you gotta be careful looking for a wife West Africa. So, what's your take on that? Do you think that is it still possible for men to go travel to Western Africa and to find a good wife?
Okay, yeah, I've heard like a lot of like stereotypes with people saying Western African women are more aggressive and they nag a lot, they are combative. Then the ones on the East Africa are mostly kind of, quiet. But I would say it kind of has something to do with language, because we in West Africa, most of our languages, we might be speaking in our language and it just sound like we're very aggressive, but it's just the language.
Yeah,
But
even the men. I know a couple Nigerians, and we had some conversation. But whenever I see them on the phone, talking to other Nigerians, I'm like, "You guys fighting? Y'all good?"
yeah, like I think I've met a lot of people who be like, but wait, are they having an argument? I'm like, no, they're just having a normal conversation. They could probably be happy, excited, and they just we go loud. So it's our language, and me specifically, our language. Even there's this languages that will demand you to actually put in more force, like the
Hmm.
intonations, the sound, the tone. So naturally, that language has influence on the way we speak and also speak other languages.
Okay.
So it has influence on that. It affects it. So that's why we might sound, because I was wondering also, but I had to like figure it out. And then I noticed in the this part of Africa, their languages are very calm, soft. So thereby it
Really?
actually made all of them, like the way they speak is very in a soft tone. They are mostly calm.
Which part?
I think in East Africa, most I would say
Hmm.
there's like Kenya, Uganda, there's Ethiopia. All of them they sound like very soft spoken,
Yeah,
and they're
I
sweet people
noticed that.
also. They're more calm though actually when it comes to behavior also.
Interesting. So, but then, well, I got a question since we're talking about both sides of Africa. So, one of the questions one of my subscriber asked me before I even got you on, he wanted to know where would be a good country or some of the places a black man that is, should find a wife, or is actually, I would say, which actually is more accepting of a foreigner from the United States uh, to come to their country, or would be accepting of that
Okay.
type of man.
Well, I would say every country in Africa that has people that look like you. You understand? As long as those people look like you, I think you can go anywhere and blend in. Like you would work in Africa if you. I think it's only when you speak that's when you're gonna stand out. But just moving around normally, it's like a day-to-day life. I'll just see you like a brother. Like this person's an African. It's not something that's gonna come in my head to think like, who is this? It's a normal. You just moving and moving around like everyone else. Everybody looks like you. There's no difference with us. I think the only difference is like there's a different look. Maybe our facial appearances. People from West
Yeah,
Africa or even some people like Uganda, Kenya, we all look the same. Then Ethiopia is like they kind of have like a different appearance. They look kind of
yeah,
different.
that's true.
So, but still at that, there's no racial segregation in most of all those African countries. So you go there, you're the same, you're seen as a brother, you're seen as a sister. So there's really, as long as you find someone that you really like there and you blend in, you look the same, there's no problem. You'll be good.
So what happens if they notice? Let's say, for example, I go to Africa, and I blend in, but then when I start talking, how would they perceive me as far as the women or so, or just people in general?
Okay, so usually I think there's this thought that actually I think surrounds Africa and most countries. They believe that people coming from a foreign land. I think it's what the media portrays. Like everybody is rich. Like
You got the
so
movies,
there's
yeah.
this mindset of riches. Like once you see a foreigner, especially coming from the United States, the UK, like that person is definitely rich. But I think it's just the mindset. Just like most people, also when I came here, I realized that most people actually don't really know much about Africa, and they think when they think about
Yeah,
Africa, all they think about is poverty. So it's actually the whole thing. Like the media is portraying a different thing here in the
yeah,
West, while the media is portraying a different thing in Africa on how they will look at the Western world. So there's this thought that these people are rich, like things like that. So you might get a situation where, let's say you're buying something you as a foreigner, and then they hear your voice, like your accent, it's different. You might actually get like a price. The price on you is just gonna go up immediately. It's gonna
really.
be different. It's gonna be
So
different.
basically become more of a superstar.
Huh?
Basically become more like a superstar.
Yeah,
People get
the
more
price
attracted and so forth.
the price will be different for you. But I think how you and yeah, a lot of people might get like false. People are not really genuine. Like that's gonna
Hmm.
attract it. But I think it's kind of something that happens to most foreigners when they go to places everywhere around the world, not just Africa.
Yeah.
So, but it depends on your approach to it. Like if you have people like the way when my husband came, also when he traveled to me, one thing I did was he wasn't really speaking since he looks like all of us. The only thing
Hmm.
was I would just be the one like talking to the people. Since we share the
Yeah.
same accent, there's not going to be like cheating and the rest. They'll just take it as a normal, day-to-day life. No need to actually be extra or anything. So if you have someone who speaks the local language, this person can speak, and then the person already knows the prices of things. The person know if someone is kind of being fake to you or anything. So yeah, there's that.
Yeah, yeah, I know. It's the same thing in Latin America. I know I've done that a lot with my wife. Whatever, especially whatever her country or just any other country in Latin America, because my Spanish is decent, but
Yeah.
I don't have that good accent. So I always let her do everything, like for information, for how much thing cost, and whatever you can think of. Just because I'm not trying to pay extra, I'm not trying to pay that superstar price.
Exactly. So it's actually good to do your research, like research on how things are done there, so that you can get the same treatment, and you're not going to get cheated by people. But once you know what you're doing, you know what you should expect from anything. I think it's hard for people to actually try to cheat you.
Yep, exactly. And I always say that, I always tell people, especially on my channel, do your research before you travel. You
Yeah.
never want to go there thinking that every country culture is the same in any other country. That's false. That's ignorant to think that. So I always tell people,
Yeah.
like, learn the culture, know what's going on, read up, do your research, whatever you could do.
And also the
So
mistake people make, like as common mistake foreigners make, like coming from a foreign country, you feel like your money goes far. Already your money
hmm
goes far a lot in foreign country. When you go like to maybe Africa or the rest, like definitely they're calling prices for you for some certain things. You might be like, oh, like it's nothing. I was just paid, but before you know it, maybe slowly you might actually be running out of money.
yeah,
And I think it's a good thing if you can keep some of your money also, so it's not bad to kind of want to get the same prizes
yeah.
that
Try to haggle
locals
like the
get.
locals.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, a lot of brothers that want to go out there looking for a wife. Make sure when you do go out there, if you do have a woman that you're talking to, make sure you get all the information. Let her do everything because you don't want to get gypped like that. Make sure you put that money towards the woman that you're dealing with. That you're looking to be a wife, that looking to be your wife. That is, instead of just giving everybody else. So. That's what I would do. Every time I would get a discount, it went right to my wife every single time. So, but I want to get more on the whole subject of the whole relationship standpoint. Let's say, for example, for Nigeria. Um, so let's say you guys are going through the courting situation, and how would you know, or how do you guys make things official? Because I know that in the States, things are a bit different. Um, how we do things and everything, but what would make a African woman or even Nigerian would know that this is official or give you the signal?
That's official. Well, I think how it happens is, when the man is ready, because at the end of the day, it's the man that's going to make the whole proposal, know if he's going to settle down.
Mm-hmm.
So all the woman is going to do is wait for the man, and then when he's ready, he proposed to her and let her know that okay, he's serious about getting married. So the next step to take is for her to actually introduce the man to her family.
Oh,
So
okay.
when introducing the man to the family, because of like I think maybe should I say from a foreigner standpoint or someone who is an African?
Well, both will be perfect.
Okay, so
Whichever you want to start with, and we can flip it.
okay, if possible, like his family is needed because like his parents are supposed to actually stand for him and speak on behalf of him to the parents. So it's supposed to be
Really?
parents, the both parents talk like, okay, we want like this woman to be our wife, something like that. So they'll be like, oh, my son is interested in your daughter, stuff like that. Then they will demand for, if they want to bring like gifts or anything, they'll bring like gifts, let's say coming to meet the family for the first
Okay.
time and then letting the parents know that oh we want your daughter they'll meet the father and they'll talk and the family of the man is supposed to demand for a bride price list like how much do they
Okay.
want, what are the things they need for the bride price, and then maybe fix a date for the traditional wedding where they pay her bride price, and if possible if they want like a big wedding or anything they'll sort that all out. And with the bride price, the father is going to be like, okay, no problem. Then they might decide and talk about it, and the man might actually go back to his family, get the list of things that they want to make it official, because that is the
Mm-hmm.
most important part of our marriage, like all the whole court wedding, all those things don't really matter. At the end of the day, it's the traditional part that is the most important thing for us Africans. So once the bride price is paid, the woman is considered the man's wife, regardless. Like even if they don't celebrate it or buy all the whole huge things and do all those parties, is all
So
of that is just something they wish to have.
so with the bride price, what is it based off of? Is it based off of his income, or what do they? What is it that they base it off of?
I think it's the family, like their own decision. It's not supposed to be something that is huge, like a whole huge amount of money.
Mhm.
It's even now that it's now a huge like a money that people pay just because of like maybe modernization. But back then in those days, mostly and they still do that. Like if you want to do it, but if you feel like, oh, I'm just gonna bring the money that'll cover for all those things, then it's fine. But usually
Okay.
they'll just bring yams, like all these vegetables like that. Could be rice, any like all those animals, goats, you know.
Nice.
So, but people, I heard like some people are strange, like who don't know it, that is new to them. They find it like an exchange, like, oh, we're bringing this goods in exchange for the woman. But it's not an exchange of that woman, it's just an appreciation to the family for taking their daughter.
Nice. So I have one question because I want to know because I know you're saying that this is basically from people within your culture. So before um before the two family talk and so forth, were the two individuals actually had a chance to date or anything like that, or this was just basically they just first met, they got to know each other, and then it was just like let's do this.
Yeah, well, it has happened. I think it happens to some people. Why some people they actually like could date for years
Hmm.
and get to know each other, know that they're ready for marriage. Sometimes, some men actually need time to actually build and grow to the extent where they'll be like, oh, I'm ready to settle down. So could be like relationship for some time, and then the woman would just like be there waiting to still get married at the end of the day. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now let's flip it. I want to know what is it with being with a foreigner. Like,
Oh,
at what point would the foreigner have the opportunity to meet the family and go through the whole process?
the foreigner is gonna have the opportunity after he has like maybe dated her and he's ready to settle down with the lady, then he'll
Hmm.
come to the family. For most cases, since the person is foreign, there are some families who would actually feel like, oh, this is an opportunity for us.
Oh,
This you're foreign, I told you the mindset people have like, oh, this whoever is coming from a foreign place, definitely the person's living well. So in
yeah,
some situations, some people have had where the family will try to like demand for more than they should
yeah.
demand for. So they might demand for crazy amounts or anything. But I think it's not something that should like kind of make people just go away and be like, oh no, I can't, I'm not doing this. So you can actually negotiate and be like, no, I can't pay this. Especially when you know how much is supposed to be paid and things that should be given, then you can strictly say, oh, this is how it's done. Then they'll be like, oh, okay, we get it. So, and then
Yeah.
they'll bring it back down to how it's supposed to be.
Okay. So should I gotta ask this? So should he bring a negotiator with him, someone who could
Yeah,
in behalf of him?
yeah, you can have like a man who is like
A
local to that
mediator or
place
something.
and knows the in and out and know about everything. They will easily kind of spot anything that it shouldn't be right. You understand? If they're trying to cheat a person or rip the person off, because usually the lady's family, that's her extended family who are not really related to her, will kind of come into that business. And then they'll be like,
Hmm.
"Oh, time to get something here."
Yeah. Trying to get some money.
You're gonna see like a lot of extended family, people that she doesn't really even maybe talk to that much. So yeah.
That's interesting. I can't hate on that for that because you know what, I know a lot of people do that stuff here in the states, so it is what it is. so so the process after they accept everything, the family accept the bride price. So what would be the next step? Would you guys like it's time to start getting married, or you guys start planning it? How long does the whole process take?
Okay, if they accept the bride price, I think it just depends on the man. Like if he already has everything for it, like the bride price, it can be done that day, like immediately. It's just I think just to give it and then the father to actually hand over his daughter to
Mhm,
if let's say the father is late or
mhm,
it has to be someone related to him by blood, maybe his
mhm.
brother or just someone related to him, definitely. So the man will kind of come and then be like, "Oh yeah, I give like he's handing over the daughter to the man," and that's how it is done. So if they plan on actually having like maybe a big celebration, then it depends on them, like the two couples, what dates they want. How quick can they have everything arranged for celebration to invite people, where they want to have the wedding at. It all depends on them and then the family also, because sometimes some family would even be the ones to decide all of that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, and also the groom, he has to pay for everything as well, or will both families come together and purchase the venue and everything that needs to be done for the wedding?
Okay, well, I think that actually depends on family. There are some
Hmm.
families that will totally depend, will put the whole burden on the man and tell him to pay everything. While some families are very, very understanding. Like they'll
Hmm.
join hands together and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna be providing this on that day. You do
Oh,
this
good.
part, and I do." So it's like a collective things. Friends and families, most of them will contribute and help for the whole celebration to come together.
Nice. I like that. I like that. Having a whole community come together for this
Yeah.
special occasion.
Well, some actually they will just I think they'll put more burden on the man in some cases.
Yeah, yeah, that definitely will definitely
Mhm.
hurt him. You know, if he
That's
has
why
the
some
whole
men
burden and so
just
forth.
they just be in debt after getting married.
Yeah, exactly. And they won't be able to enjoy their lives.
Yeah.
Well, what I gotta give a shout out to Eric Powell. Thank for the $5. Thank for the $5. He said great content. Keep grinding. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. So, so after let's say after the whole wedding, well, you want to know? I want to know about the whole ceremony. How long does the ceremony last? Is it like for several days, a whole week, or whatever? Because I know some people, especially in India, you know, their whole celebration lasts a whole week. So I don't
Me
know.
personally, I think we Nigerians we love celebrations a lot, and like some countries, while some people don't really do like a whole lot of celebration, but we will love like celebrations a lot, and sometimes some can go for a whole week and be like from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday down to Sunday. That's their whole week for their
I like
celebration.
that.
They'll have different definition of what they call it. Today is this day. Today it's just ladies like ladies' day, then groom's day, things like that. Or could just be a day where they come and paint, do makeup, anything, random things.
Nice.
So it could actually go on for days, but typically I think it's just Friday and Saturday. That's just
Oh, okay.
how the normal one that I know is just people being extra sometimes.
So okay, so typically weddings is always on Friday and Saturday. They don't have it any other days.
Main wedding is the one where I think for Christians or even yeah for Christians typically it's on Saturdays where they go to like church and then they have like the after ceremony where they rent places like halls or anything. Then but mostly that Friday is for it could be for the traditional wedding, the actual traditional wedding, but
Hmm.
sometimes they can spread it apart. The traditional wedding can be done. That's the whole bride price thing and the rest. But that could be done in another, a whole different day, months before the main wedding, the main
Okay.
celebration and the rest. So that day is just meant for plain bride price, traditional wedding. Then the other one, which is the white wedding, they call it the white wedding because they go to church. That's for Christians. They go to church and then they do like an after ceremony. So that one is done on Saturdays because that's the day where people don't work. So you're gonna have like guests and the rest. Then as for Muslims, I think they do their own on Saturday, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. So the Fridays could is just they call it I think Kamu. That's they will just celebrate with their family. They'll mostly maybe dance with the wife and do anything. They could even go have like a dinner night on Saturday or anything. Then sorry, on Friday. Then on Saturday, they might do anything they want to do. Could just be any celebration, family coming to give and the bride advice, anything they want to do. Then on Sunday is the main day they go to the mosque to tie the knot. That's when they go to the mosque and have someone tie the knots for both of them, and they take the bride to her husband's house. So.
Okay, cool. So, with before I get to this question, I want to know like how much. Well, what is the percentage would you say will be Muslim, and what's the other percentage is Christian?
For what?
As far as just people in Nigeria, because I know that there's a lot of people in the states that are more so like Christian, and I'm sure they want to know, what is their chances if they would want to go to Nigeria to find a wife or so, and they want to have the same religion and so forth. What would be, what would you say is more Christians or there's more Muslim in Nigeria?
Yeah, that percentage is kind of hard to tell, but there are a lot of Christians in Nigeria. And then the
Okay.
percentage of Muslims are mostly found in the northern part of Nigeria. That is so, but any other parts, there are just like a lot of Christians. Christians populate more, but the northern part of Nigeria is also big and huge. So it has that's where so when once you go to Nigeria and you go to the northern part, you're going to the part where there are a lot of Muslims. And on the other part, like the east, south, and the rest, the central, all you're having there is Christians, majority of Christians, then a mix of Muslims, which are not that much. They're not too populated. They prefer to actually stay back in the northern part.
Oh, okay. Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah.
So we have a Yermi. I'm sorry if I messed up your name. Please don't get mad at me. But his question is what about Zimbabwe, Zambia, Botswana, and the Congo? If you know anything about the women there.
Well, I think I know much about Zimbabwe more, and the women are actually, I think with women things, they are mostly good women there. They are nice women who are actually family oriented. They're traditional. While actually still you're gonna get like bad fruits in those places. So regardless of where you go in life, there's still gonna be bad and good apples. But the population where they are good enough women, it's okay. I think it's a good percentage. Yeah.
Okay, good, good. What about the other ones? And
So
not
Botswana and Congos, I'm not really very aware of how the women are.
okay. Okay, cool. So, but that's a good question. Move on next one here. But as far as now after the fact that you guys went through the marriage, the whole ceremony, party for a whole week, got it in, or even 2 weeks, whatever. So at that point, is the man what is required from him? Is he supposed to have a house ready or so, or let's say for example, he's still living in United States and he has this one wife. Should he get an apartment for her? How that whole thing works?
Mm, well, I think it depends on them if that's what they want. Like if the man is living in a different place, sometimes because we usually when a woman stays by herself, she lives alone. Let's say okay, she doesn't have children and she's kind of young and she lives by herself. She's kind of looked at anything she does is like everybody is just being nosy and looking at her movements. Is she talking
Mm.
to this person? So you might actually get like false gossip moving around, like oh this person's a pro,
Ooh.
all those kind of things. But if I think it also depends on the man what he wants. If he wants her to still live with her family until maybe he decides to process her, that's if he's planning on processing her visa. But if they want like just start up their family for them to actually stay back where she is, then he needs to get her a place, an apartment, a house, anything for her to move to, so that would be her own place where she start up her life as a married woman.
Okay.
So it's actually, but if he plans on taking her, it's best for her to be with the family so they can keep an eye on her and what she does.
Yeah. So I gotta ask about that. So how is I would say faithfulness, of most Nigerian women or so is are they loyal to that point that they didn't really the foreigner doesn't have anything to worry about after he leaves?
Okay, so with loyalty, like these days, there's I think back in the days is when we mostly hear many people saying, "Oh, uh, these men are cheaters." But apparently these days it seems like there's a huge percentage of women that cheat a lot, which is something
Yeah.
that we didn't grow up like knowing. Like it's totally abnormal for a woman to be cheating. Like we hear, "Oh, this man is actually out there somewhere. We saw him here, saw him there." But for a woman, it's totally not something that we hear. But with the whole modern world now, it's a lot of stories about, oh, this woman cheated, this woman did this. Though it's still not like in a huge percentage, especially in marriage, like it's kind of
Okay.
rare because it is highly like forbidden. Then for relationship
Okay.
aspects, though, with it's like an abomination for it's an abomination, it's not even like so it's an abomination for a woman to cheat while she's a married woman. It's
Mm.
totally forbidden. But for a relationship where some men, like I think I've heard many men complain that, oh, this woman is cheating on me, like with African women chasing a relationship, that they have no loyalty. I think it's the mindset that is moving around now these days, where
Mm.
women will be like, well, since he didn't marry me yet. Why should I have loyalty to him? I need to keep my options open. Like I can't put one fruit in one basket.
Hmm.
So
So,
I
so in
think
so
it's
many words,
yeah.
in so many words, you should marry that woman. She looking to be married like sooner than later.
I actually think like something is kind of wrong with that mentality and thought because at the end of the day, before a man gets married to you, he's evaluating you. Because if you're
Hmm.
already showing signs that okay, you want to still keep your options open, then it is not like a good look because he's gonna see you
Yeah.
as, oh, you're still gonna do that if I get married to you. But
Exactly.
it is the men. It's just them being like, oh, I'm just gonna keep my options open and see. But it is some. But I know like a lot of African women who are very very loyal, despite the fact that they are good people, there's still some who will be like, they'll be in a relationship. You ask them, "Are you in a relationship?" They'll be like, "Nope." And maybe they do have someone, but they are looking at the person like maybe he's not that serious. Maybe he's not ready to get married. Because I told you the mindset is just get married, like
Mm.
strictly. Once they get to a certain age, is just to start finding someone who can be a potential partner to get married to. So they want to see that seriousness. They want to make sure that yeah, you really have the thought of actually settling down with them. Then they will be like, okay, this is it. Like I found my own husband.
Okay. Good. So, so House of Lamar, and just want to let you know she's from Nigeria. Just in case you've ever heard it yet, she's from Nigeria. So, getting a relationship, how soon is a Nigerian woman looking to get married? Is it within months or years? Like a few years or so?
Well, yeah, that's the thing.
Hmm.
For men, mostly how men usually before they settle down, they need to be ready. Sometimes they'll
Yeah.
wander around for men who wander around most likely for long before they be like, okay, it's time to actually settle down. But for women, they're like early, they'll just have real pushy and be like, okay, they just want to get married already. Especially with like maybe the influence of friends around them getting married, then you're just gonna get like pressure. She's gonna put pressure on you. But if you both are still like maybe let's say very young or still getting to know each other, she might be calm and be relaxed. She has to actually know that okay, she finds you as a very good person. Like you're someone that she can settle down with. You're a good man. You have like a good stable life. Then you will start getting like maybe she might not really say it because I think some wouldn't say it to you clearly, but in their mind they're just waiting like when already. While some might actually go with the approach of putting pressure. Like when are you gonna
Oh,
meet
okay.
my family? Or she might
Be
actually
direct.
or she might be slick and try to like be introducing her family to you slowly. Once you see something
Oh,
like that, you already know it's a sign. Like, hey, here's my little sister, my brother. Like, come say hi to my mom. Things like
that's good. That makes sense. Is there a particular age that the Africans or at least Nigerians are looking to be married by? Because I know that in Latin America, they have that range between of 25 and 30. They believe that after 30 you're an old woman, and there's an issue, depending on the country that is. So how is it? with Nigeria.
Since Nigeria has like, I think there's a little bit of difference of culture between, but I think it's kind of like maybe I would say I would separate it with maybe the whole religion, like the
Hmm.
parts where they are mostly majority of Christians, and then the parts where they are mostly majority of Muslims. The majority of Muslims, mostly the women are kind of ready to get married by the age of maybe 18 going upward. So by that time, there are even situations where some ladies in the like Muslim part of the family, maybe if they are like by the age of 20 and not married or 21, the family might the dad might be like, see, why are you staying too long in my house? Things like that. Why aren't you bringing someone already? So there might be like a lot of pressure applied to the woman by her own parents, her family, people around her. But then to the Christian part, which is I think the whole southern part, the north, all those eastern part and the rest, it's by the age of let's say 24, could be
Okay.
22, like 23. By 22, 23, she wants it. But then by I think 24, 25, maybe when she's done with the university or stuff like that, there's this pressure that's been put by the sites like, what are you still waiting for? Has anybody come yet, like for any marriage proposal? So yeah.
See, I like that. You see, I like cultures like that because here in the states, it's a whole different culture. Most of the women, well, what media, everyone tells women that you should wait. You could find somebody after 30. You can have kids after 30, and we know that's kind of backwards compared to the whole entire world. Everybody in the world knows there's a certain set of time to get married and come together, but that's just the way it is here in the states.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I notice most people like in the States don't like there's no pressure in society about getting married.
yeah, yeah, and even now it's all about not getting married. They want to see people single at this point. It's like, come on, you got to build families.
Yeah.
but but we got House of Lamar. He got one more question. I don't know if you want to answer this. You said, is a polygamy legal in Nigeria?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so with that, how many wives can one person have? I'm sure it's up to what he can afford, but is
Um,
there like a set limit?
Well, I would say with the court, since I told you our main marriage that we take more seriously is
Mm-hmm.
the traditional wedding, where
Mm-hmm.
the man pays like the rights, the whole traditional rights of the woman. That's the one I think the man can have like multiple wives, any wife he wants to have. It is totally okay with us. But when it comes to the part where the person has to go to like the court and they want to have like court wedding, like a legal marriage, then they want just one wife. That
Oh,
situation
okay.
where they want one.
Okay, cool. I like that. So, so now at this point, they've been married, everything is good. You guys are spending time with each other. Let's say he's a foreigner, he's coming back and forth visiting. Um, what should he expect from his wife? How should she treat him?
Okay. Well, how she should treat him is, I think the normal way she would treat him, let's say if they were already living together in
Mm-hmm.
let's say they're all based there together living already, she's supposed to like take care of him, make sure, since usually as if a person's a foreigner, you're coming to a place that you're not aware of, she's supposed to actually be the one to kind of help you in some situations where you're unaware of, you don't know how to handle some things. She'll be the one to kind of prepare and set up things for you, talk to people, take care of you, make sure that you're well fed, if you need your stuff, laundry done, things, all those things that
Mm,
they're done to cater to a man, especially with the distance when you miss someone so much, then you can even be more extra. But yeah, so
yeah.
the woman is going to cater to the man a lot.
What would be the typical Nigerian meal would his wife cook for him?
Well, yeah, that
Like
is
it's.
is a natural is something that a woman's supposed to do. So when I hear some women being like, because I don't think it's even something that we mention. Like usually when a man asks like, "What can you do? What do you like?" Things like, "What do you bring to the table?" I hear some women be like, "Oh, I can cook and I can clean." And then for me, it's like you mentioning it, it means like you feel like you have like an achievement which is something that should just be natural. Like it's never something you're supposed to mention because it should be there before, like
Yeah,
something that you feel like you grew up with totally. It's like you saying, "Oh, I have hands." Like, of course you have hands.
of course.
Why should you even mention it? If is it new to you? Did you just go and apply the hands there?
But you'd be surprised because a lot of the women in the states, you know, they to them they believe they're the table, but don't know how to do much. You know, as far as what you're talking about, the traditional, you know, being a wife and so forth. So
So the whole like cooking role and everything is something that the woman is supposed to do. Supposed to actually learn how to cook because her mother usually, if a woman has like a girl child, that is something she has to be training the daughter from a young age so that she can
mm,
know how to cook and feed her husband. So if the woman doesn't really know how to cook, it's like a real big failure to
really,
her and also to her family. So it's like a whole disgrace. It's a disgraceful thing. It's something that's why mothers usually put like a whole huge effort in trying to make sure that their daughters learn how they cook for their own husbands, so that when they go to their own home someday and become wives, they would know they would do the same thing that they saw their mothers doing.
nice. You guys hear that, right? If you guys looking for traditional women, look at that. So, at what age would the mother actually start teaching the daughter to start cooking?
I think it as long as it's something, it's not even something that is like physically like saying, oh, come here, this is what you put in here. It's something you are as a child, like growing up, since from being a toddler, you already see your mom doing this a certain thing, you're already there in the kitchen and you're told to, it's like a collective work done there. When the daughter is already big enough to actually be able to handle stuff, she might be like, "Oh, this is how we chop this stuff for me while I do this." You know, with that, you can easily learn. It's not a situation where you just sit down there and it's one day that you're taught that. It's something that you're helping, you're assisting. Before you know it, you'll be the one to even cook like a whole meal in the family. So it's something you kind of grow into with
Mm,
time by handling some things. When your mother is cooking, you have to be there in the kitchen assisting. So from assistance, you start cooking yourself.
nice. I like that. That's some good information right there. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are enjoying this information. Right now, I'm going through the chats. I'm sorry I'm so behind on the chats and everything. I see a couple of questions in here that I think we already answered. So I'm just skipping through a couple of these here. Um, but I'm gonna post a question. You know, I'm gonna scroll down a little bit here. What are some questions you guys may have for Didi as far as relationships and things of that nature? If you guys have anything, you know, you
I
can
see a
start
lot of
posting
people
them.
in the chat having questions about polygamy.
Yeah. I'm going through some of those.
Funny enough, I think a lot of men just maybe don't admit it, but I think a lot of men are very open to polygamy if they have the chance to.
Yeah. I look at it this: as long as you have enough money, I can see it, but it only works. I've said this a couple of videos. It only works with women who are in a traditional culture per se. You know, that's not going to work here in the states.
No, but I do think, well, the standard that I've noticed that people have turned it to, polygamy used to be mostly in African tradition. It was a normal thing. Like a man might actually be struggling and don't even have anything for himself, but still you see him with his four wives,
Yeah.
sometimes even five. But the standards that people are kind of turning it now into is when the man is like really rich, like when he's a
Mm.
millionaire, a billionaire, then to be like the woman will be like, I'm open. Like if you want to marry me as a tenth wife, I would gladly marry you.
Yeah. Well, I kind of see it working out for people who are looking to build a family because, you know, sometimes it can be hard for a wife to take care of the entire household. And especially when you guys have kids. So I see from that standpoint how a lot of people are looking for that poly relationship. You know, so I guess have sister wives and they all taking care of the kids together in the household while he's taking care of the rest of the household as well. What needs to be done, the manly duties and everything. That's what I've heard from other people and so forth.
I think the
Um,
fear that some women mostly have with polygamy, some women really don't mind it. Like they
mm,
wouldn't mind. sharing their husband, knowing that okay, he's rather than him being out there somewhere cheating on her without she knowing who he is with, what he's doing.
Mm,
She feels like, oh, I rather just know that yeah, this is the woman you're married to. Like you're legally being with that woman that you're with. So some wouldn't mind it. It's just the fear of, I think, the type of person he would go and bring. Because the way a woman is gonna treat some women, the way they're gonna treat the man might be different from the way they would treat their sister wives, you understand?
mm.
Some might actually come in maybe as a second wife or third wife, but might want to actually push out the one they came and met in there. So that is like not it is kind of something that is difficult for some women.
Yeah, I can totally understand, and especially that woman, she's very what's the word I'm looking for? Very jealous. Excuse that, everybody. Got my kids coming in here, but uh, so if you living here, you went to the states, right? Well, if you're living in the states, what's your what's your opinion on the women here? Because I'm sure you kind of understand why your husband went to Africa to go find you. So what's your take on it?
Um, okay. At first, when my husband told me, "Oh, this is the reason why I'm looking out," like because of the mindset, the whole government system, and everything towards the training of women here, I was like, "Oh well, I don't think because I mostly surround women that are surrounded with me. I was surrounded with are only I know they're just like normal, they're good, they're chill. So the him bring it telling me women behave this way, a certain way that is different. It's kind of weird to me. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, wait, how will they do that? Like it's some things he would tell me, I would feel like it's just a made up story. Like maybe it's only in the movies, like it can't be real. Some
Yeah,
people's life, I'm like, nah, that can't be real. But actually seeing it, I'm like, damn, like so this really happens because I think in some African countries they'll be like, they're trying to get like women rights. They want to fight for women so that women can have like equality with men. Um, but seeing that is kind of given to the women that are here, like they fought. I think most of them maybe they did protests before in the past, and they
yeah,
finally got what they wanted. It's like there's an unsatisfaction. Homes are broken. It's like why? So many. It's a whole lot of chaos that I'm seeing.
yeah.
People look at their stable, but they don't have a stable home.
No.
There's whole divorce cases, child support, men being losing everything that they have. And then I noticed when the case is actually reversed, when men are the ones who are given the opportunity to maybe
Mm-hmm.
take child support or anything from the woman, they mostly don't go for it. So
No.
I was gonna say, oh, maybe it's the law that we're gonna blame, but then I kind of understood that it's actually the women because people have the right and choice to decide what they want to do when power is given to them.
Yeah. This is true. Which is true. You know. So yeah, because my wife, she tells me about the differences she see here. You know,
Yeah,
she's like, people are here crazy.
yeah. Like it's, I think it's a whole huge shock to actually see it. So, but most people, like I said, some African women will be online, like they'll be talking and be saying, "Oh, the passport bros are just kind of saying bad things about their women," because they just feel like they have like this natural connection with them. Because mostly when they want to talk about the African American woman, they feel like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, like we look the same." So when the men actually coming for them and coming hard on the women, they feel like, "Oh,
Mm-hmm.
it's us too," because we look like them, things like that. But it's because they don't
Which is
understand the
false.
relationship dynamic that is going on and what they do.
Yeah.
So it's actually most of them just speak out of ignorance.
Yeah, because the thing about it, the people knew, like the media, like, and it's not, and we're not even just gonna talk about just black men, whatever. But the media has been talking bad about men for decades.
Yeah, I
you
see.
know.
Like that's mostly all you know. That's why I said like finding. I think when I grew up, I didn't. It's kind of hard for me to process that a woman did something wrong. It's like no, like
Hmm.
it's hard. It's something that I had to kind of see, and I'm like, damn. It seems women are out of line. Like for years, I'm like all I was like the media will show you is men doing something wrong. You watch movies, it's men cheating. You watch anything, it's men doing this. It's like it's always a man. It's always a man doing something
Yep.
wrong.
He's the bad guy, no matter what. He's the villain.
They're always the villain in any maybe movie or anything you see on the media as a whole.
Exactly. But then you know what? I think the only time when I actually seen a difference was like back in 2003. A movie was released. It was called Unfaithful, and it's funny because at the time I was dating a woman, and she actually took me to the movie. And I was sitting there like, man, I don't want to watch this because I already know if they're gonna say that the man is the person who's unfaithful. And I'm like, I'm just sitting in my chair the whole time. I'm just like, here we go. Oh man, here we go. And the movie just is like making it seem like it's him, but it was a plot twist, and it was actually the woman. And I was like, what?
That's new.
I couldn't believe that. That blew my mind.
Yeah.
That's the only time I actually see something like that.
I think it's very hard to actually see because the media wouldn't want to portray that. They still want like the men have always been taking blames. It's just maybe now with social media where the women are actually coming out to actually show themselves. And it's like, okay, yeah, we can see you
Yeah.
now. You're being loud.
Yeah, yeah. The media has done so much. It has opened up so many people's eyes. It has opened up, like, people are able to see everything. They have removed the band-aid off of a lot of stuff.
Because of how much they feel like, oh, it's the man that's always the problem. I think some men, just because of that, always listening to it, they started believing it. Like maybe in situations where they actually didn't do anything wrong, they'll feel like, oh, maybe it's me. But then now, like with YouTube and with TikTok, with women coming out to
Hmm.
actually show what they do, and men having the same experiences around. So men are actually saying it that they are not the problem. It's actually the women because
Yeah,
why Mr. A is also facing the same thing. Mr. B has the same experience. It's like, okay, is it the men or is it the women in that case?
yeah. The funny thing is how a lot of, let's say, for example, I hate to use the word of passport bros or just travelers. A lot of the way that a lot of these people came together, which is from a lot of these travel groups, is that how they found out that the culture has shifted or changed was because they were talking to other brothers, let's say from Atlanta, New York, Miami, whatever, and they all coming together and they're talking about what they're going through, and other people are able to relate to it from other cities, and that's how they put the two together. They're like no, this is not right.
Exactly. Like I think understanding, like listening to someone else experiencing the same exact thing that you're experiencing is just like, oh yeah, then something like where is the problem, the root of this problem? So
Yeah,
yeah,
but it's society. This is just what they're trying to push. They're gonna make us go down this path. So it's a sad situation.
yeah.
But look like we made it to about an hour. I hate to extend this, but you know what? I'm gonna leave the floor to you if you want to leave anybody, well, everybody with something in reference to the whole subject of marriage, life, whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to say. Let the audience know.
Well, I don't know, except if they have questions, but I think I've kind of summed it up. Just let me sum it up though.
Hmm.
The main thing is this: there's still bad and good ones, but I think if you're looking for an African woman that you want to date or marry or be with, the most important thing is to actually know her background, like where she's coming from, and make sure that she is someone who is actually raised from a traditional home and someone who actually has seen how a woman has treated a male figure in a family. Because since you are a man, you want that woman to have experienced how a good woman actually treated a man in her family, not a person who was raised to just not regard a man or anything like that. So it's actually good to know the family background of the woman before you settle down with them, because most of the time, and how their mothers are, most of the time women tend to actually be exactly like their mothers. Like they might reject it and say, "Oh, I am not my mother. I can't be my mother," but they always tend to gravitate towards being like their mother. Because I think people must have experienced the situations where they'd be like, maybe like growing up as a child, you might feel like my parents actually maybe yelling at me not to do a certain thing. They're telling me to return home by this time, and then you find out that maybe when you have a child, you notice that you're doing the exact same thing that your parent did before. So all those things are like patterns and generational patterns that sometimes children tend to follow. So it's good to actually check where that person came from, how they were, how the family are, and that's it.
All right, nice. So thanks so much for breaking that down for us. And I agree with you what you say. You definitely got to look at the family. You got to look at um, how that person was raised and so forth. That's very important. I just put your channel link in the chat right now for you guys that are looking to go subscribe. Make sure you go subscribe to her. you know,
Thank you so much.
she's doing her thing. Make sure you go ahead and show her some love. She does live as well. Don't forget to donate. So hit her up.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
I appreciate you being here. We gotta do something else. I know that we're gonna come back. We're gonna do another live real soon. I guess on your channel. So I'll probably say, hopefully the next week or so, we could get up and do that video.
Yeah, it was good. I really appreciate you having me on here today. Thank you so much.
Same here. Appreciate you coming by and giving us this information.
Thank you.
So, well, I'm gonna drop you down, but thanks so much for being here.
All right. Have a good day. Bye.
You too. So that was Dee Dee Wills. Make sure you guys go subscribe to her. She has a lot of good information on Africa, different countries that she's been to, different women that she's actually come in contact with and so forth. So if you guys are really looking for wives, go check her out. And of course, you guys see, I've actually made videos on her channel, certain videos that she released, because of course, you guys know that I'm all for trying to help brothers look for women outside the United States to marry. I'm not looking for pookies to go out there and mess things up for us. I'm looking for good brothers that are looking for marriage material women, and so that we could be happy, because we know how things are in the States. Things in the States are not as pleasant as we want it to be. As such, as we know that there's a lot of things such as feminism or whatever that has changed the whole dynamics of our culture and our relationships and so forth. So that's one of the reasons why, and I'm telling you guys, go out there, get your passports, go see what is out there, go check out the women, do your research, so that you guys could find some type of happiness, and that's all I want for you brothers, to find some happiness. So if I anything else, this is it. I'm gonna have to holler back at you guys. Appreciate you guys showing up. Oh, I gotta say what up to Howard Cooper. He came in at the last minute. What up, man? Thanks for coming in here. He came in at the last second. So what up with you? So, but like I said, once again, this is it. I'm gonna holler back at you guys. You guys have a good one. Peace.